You're watching Cabinet Wise. And today, we're gonna build a drawer. I'm gonna show you the reason why this way works. Now to get started, we need to first get our drawer size. We take our tape measure and we measure the opening. So this opening is 21 inches by 5.5 inches. The critical dimension is between these 2 points, here and here. When making our deductions, we'll take the opening width minus 1 11/16, 19 5/16. So 19 5/16 will be the platform size. So first I'll write the depth of the drawer, which is 21 inches in this case, and that is determined by the slide length. Then I'll write the platform width. And for the height, we deduct 2 inches for your front and back piece. So at 5.5, piece will be 3.5 inches, which then with the 1/2 inch bottom will be 4-inch total height. For these drawers to work and to be as solid as they are, I always use a 1/2 inch bottom. That just adds to the strength and the rigidity. For the sides, you'll add 5/8 inch to the total height. So it's 4 5/8, because a 1/2 inch below and an 1/8 inch above. I like to make the sides stick up an 1/8 inch. I think it just looks nice. We're going to be using 3/4 inch maple plywood for the fronts and the backs, and 1/2 inch for the sides. What's that, you say? You don't have one of those expensive edge banders? No problem. Use any old household iron. Now I'm just cleaning up the edges with a sharp chisel just to get rid of any excess material before sanding. And as I'm just scraping away all that excess, I'd like to point out that I am using unfinished material here, and the reason for that is no real joinery involved. We want this to be simple construction that can be built quickly, but the trade-off is you cannot use pre-finished material. If you do use pre-finished material, the glue will not adhere properly to that, and this method is very much dependent on the glue. Now it's time for the assembly. So what I'll do is I'll use my Senko 18 gauge brad nailer with 1.5" nails. And of course the hero is the Titebond wood glue, the original. So what I'm showing here is the tear out. When you're cutting the platform, you want to make sure the good side is facing down so that the tear out actually comes out on the good side, which here is facing up. I just marked it because these front and back pieces are going to be covering that up. So now I'm just going to run a row of nails across each side, and these will be on the bottom of the drawer so they will not be seen. And then I'll fasten the sides, and the tear out I'll want to make sure goes down so where it's covered by the front and the back. Carefully apply my glue. And then when I'm setting it in place, again, we'll want to make sure we have a 1/2 inch overhang on the bottom and an 1/8 inch on the top. And now one piece remains to be put on. Let's just check all the edges to make sure they all look clean and tidy. And our last bead of glue. Now the last thing to do as we're waiting for the glue to dry is fill the nail holes. I use this wood filler in maple. This particular one is an acetone based. You can use whatever you choose. I just find that this works well because it doesn't crack or shrink. And now all I need to do is screw on the locking devices. They sit tight against the sides while sitting 5/8 back from the face. I'll use 5/8 number 7 head Phillips screws. Then I just need to drill my hole in the back. It's a 1/4 inch hole, and it's made specifically for these Blum slides. This little tab sits in that hole in the back. Now we have the wood putty drying in those little nail holes. They are acting as a clamp to hold each piece together as the glue dries. The wood glue really is the ultimate piece in this puzzle. Once it dries, it is just as hard as the wood itself. It's going to bond this piece. Like I said, it can't be pre-finished, but it's going to bond this piece to this veneer so tightly that it's more likely to rip the veneer off than to actually separate. So the reason I do the fronts and the backs in 3/4 is so that there's a wider surface for this to be glued to. Same idea with it being 1/2 inch on the bottom. Once this is all glued and dry, this does not come apart. 17, 18 years of experience, I've never had one of these drawers come apart. It seems too easy, like you would need some kind of joinery or rabbeting to get this to sit tighter or to get this to be stronger, but I assure you this is plenty strong. I've thrown them on a concrete floor to test out the strength, and they don't come apart. But as you see, it's all very clean looking. That's just some sawdust there. You can't even see the nail holes, and the glue is dry. So as I said before, this is solid. Between the 1/2 inch bottom, the 3/4 front and back, plenty of surface for the glue to adhere. That glue is very strong. It glues stronger than the wood itself. One tip is when you're cutting your parts, make sure, in order to get everything to fit together tightly, when you're cutting the bottom platform, you want to make sure your front and your back is exactly the same width. Key is clean cuts and all the exact correct size. That way you're going to have everything coming together in the corners very tight. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this simple drawer build. I hope you try it out and let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you disagree with this method and think perhaps some further joinery is required to make a strong drawer box. As I said, I've made this for 17, 18 years, never had any issues with drawers falling apart. They're a very solid box just for simple construction, for mass production cabinetry, or for DIYers. Anyway, take care, and I will see you next time.